How to use the TKT app to help you avoid parking tickets. You can find this app in the Apple App Store under TKT STPR, brought to you by TKT. When you first open the app, you'll need to create a new account. In this case, I already have one, so I'm just going to log in. And by the way, this phone number is internet only, so please don't try to call it. The way that the Ticket Stopper app works is there's two different ways. The first method is what we call Parking Radar. Within Parking Radar mode, we ask you to tell us about how much time you think you're going to need to park for. This can be anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 days. The reason the maximum is only 3 days is because legally under San Francisco law, you can only park in any one spot on the street for no more than 72 hours, no matter if there are rules posted or not. So you'll notice that the way that Parking Radar works is it shows you a whole series of colored pins. So what you need to know is that red means no parking. An X that's red means there's never any parking in that spot, in that block. A red with a letter in it means that there is normally parking available, but not at this particular time for the next 30 minutes. Yellow means that there's parking available, but you have to pay. You'll notice there are numbers over this M here. Those numbers represent the number of spots available from the SF Park sensors. So these are refreshed every 60 seconds, so the app actually knows live whether spots are open or not. And green means that there's parking available and it's free. If you were to click on any of these pins, it'll bring up the street range, and clicking on the resulting flag will then actually bring up the detailed view. So here we tell you if there's street sweeping, if there's meter, tow-away, incline, residential, and a few other warnings that don't show up here. The idea is that we have mapped the entire city of San Francisco and all the parking rules so that you don't have to worry about trying to figure out what's going on, because it can be very complicated. You'll notice in the screen also that we can check in. The reason we give you this opportunity to check in is that the GPS on a phone isn't very accurate, and we don't know just from the GPS exactly where you've parked. And the reason for asking you to check in is that by checking in, we can give you other warnings that aren't normally available. So for example, in this case, there's an incline parking, we will pop up a warning right away to please curb your wheels, so you don't get a ticket for that. Checking in also sets up a tiered series of alerts. So the idea is if you ignore the first alert for whatever reason, such as the residential area is about to end, or maybe the meter period, it's 5:50 and you only put in 5 minutes, well, we make sure you don't get a ticket because we also put all the other alerts there. So you'll notice within the calendar that we've actually put in a whole series of alerts here. Besides this first one, which is the residential alert, we've also put in an alert here for the street sweeping, which will occur at 4 o'clock this morning. We give you a little time to get to your car. And then, of course, the 72-hour rule, that's what this alert is. So in addition to helping you see where open spaces are with the SF Park data, where you can park safely for the period of time you specify, and of course putting alerts in on your calendar, we also have a second mode we call Parking Ticket Guard. Parking Ticket Guard looks very similar to Parking Radar, but there are a few differences. Number one, we don't automatically show the displays here. The real purpose of Parking Ticket Guard is for you to browse around areas to see where you might want to look for parking before you actually start driving. You'll notice that it looks very similar, but since we don't have a period of time, we only just display what the general categories are. In addition, you'll notice instead of a time period button, we have this alarm button. And if you've set an alarm, this will jump to the block that you've parked. So you can use this to figure out where you parked your car. In addition, within Parking Ticket Guard, you can also search using the address. So if you don't know exactly where on the map a given street may be, you can use this to jump straight to a specific spot. So as you can see, this is a full Google map where you can scroll around the map, you can zoom in or out as you please. Whether you're in Parking Ticket Guard or in Parking Radar, you still have the opportunity to check in. You'll notice, obviously, if there are active zones, that the meter will display that. Right? It'll say on till 6 p.m. So you know when you have how much you have to pay for, because it's no longer true that every meter only ends at 6 o'clock p.m. We at ParkingTicketStopper.com have mapped the entire city of San Francisco with all the parking regulations. Unfortunately, the database cannot be 100% accurate. Mistakes can occur, but more likely what's happened is the city has changed the rules. This happens quite a lot, and the good news is, if you tell us about it, we can fix it right away. Ticket Stopper works on a dynamic basis, which means that you never have to worry about your copy being out of date. If you find something that is incorrect, you can go into the About page and the Feedback button, which brings you to this page, which looks like Parking Ticket Guard, and refresh will bring up the pins just like any of the other modes. The difference is, if you actually go in there, it will bring up a notes page, which you can just tell us what's wrong. This then sends an email directly to us, and we will check this data, and if it needs fixing, we'll fix it right away, and it will be available almost immediately. This is Ticket Stopper. We hope you can use this to help you avoid parking tickets, to be able to find parking more easily, to see where secret parking areas are that are maybe even free, and in general to make visiting and parking in San Francisco a much more enjoyable process. Thank you very much.